Hi, everybody. My name is Judy Masters. I know a couple of you in here. I have been with Trinity School of Natural Health for almost 14 years. I know. I started in 2000. Thank you. I started in 2007 as an instructor for certified natural health professionals. Trinity and CNHP merged in 2014, and I was fortunate to be retained to be one of the selected instructors. And I have remained with them and am still teaching in various Trinity programs. So wanted to welcome you here. We're going to talk a little bit about a wonderful wellness program called Shape Reclaimed. It is very different than anything I've ever encountered. And believe me, I've encountered a lot of stuff. I began the program 6 months ago, so I am here as a 66-year-old poster child for the program. I'm part of the way through it. I have more to go, but I am happy to share my bumps and bruises. But the main man is standing right next to me, to my left. The founder and the expert on Shape Reclaimed is Dr. Todd Frisch. And before there is an official introduction, I want to point down to the lady here in the tie-dye t-shirt. That is Abby Belliston, who is the CEO of Shape Reclaimed. So these two are your actual experts. I'm the hands-on, been there working on it, and happy to help with that aspect of it. So
her actual name is Frisch Belliston.
Yes, Frisch Belliston. I'm sorry. Mom. Yes, she and I was going to get there.
Okay, I'm sorry. I took your thunder. I'm so sorry.
Jeez. It's a dad joke. Very good. Okay. So obviously it is Abby Frisch Belliston. She is Todd's daughter and is very knowledgeable in the program. We are in booth 305. So if you are interested and don't find out what you need to know here now, come see us afterwards. We will be back in the booth. And without further ado, I want to quote my friend over here, and then I'm going to hand the mic to him. God created food for human life, and man created food for shelf life. That concept has resonated with me and is one of the main reasons that I went to the Shape Reclaim program. And it is my pleasure now to introduce to you Dr. Todd Frisch.
Hi, everyone. So I'm retired. I practiced almost 40 years in St. Louis, and I loved helping people. There's nothing greater than to see it change when someone makes that change in their life to a better place. Patients would always ask me, what should I eat? And I would tell them, shop the peripheral aspect of a grocery store, because the more man touches it, the more he screws it up. So everything in the middle, your Kraft macaroni and cheese, probably not as healthy as broccoli. I mean, that's obvious to all of us sitting here, but it's not obvious to the world. They think, oh, that's good. It's been enriched. So they take 40 things out and put 6 back, and it's enriched. That's an interesting thing. So my thing that I would say with patients is, when they say, what should I eat? I said, eat foods that can rot or spoil, and eat it before they do. Pretty simple. And then it would come to supplements. And I would ask my patient, I wanted my patients to think. I wanted to see their eyes change and come up with, oh my goodness, this is a life-changing moment. And with supplementation, I said, what do you think is the most important supplement? And they would say, well, I've been reading a lot about vitamin D. That's a really good supplement, but I've been reading a lot about fish oil. They go, oh yeah, me too. That's important. I said, you want to know what the most important supplement is? The most important? The ladies would grab their purse and get their pencil and paper, and guys would go, what? So I would say the most important supplement is the one you're missing. And you watch their eyes. And I said, you want to find somebody that can know that. Supplements are just that. You take it, you supplement yourself till you fill the glass. You don't take them for the rest of your life. My goal with patients, fight it, fix it, say goodbye. We supplement till your body's right and then go from there. Hopefully we eat healthy, real foods, which is what Shape is based on, eating healthy foods.
All right. So this is something I quote of him often, and that is, all diets fail, and it cannot be metabolic. So one of the things that I have bought into over the years, and I shouldn't, because I'm a holistic practitioner. I'm a naturopath. I have been I've been in the field for 23 years, so I should have known better. But that was the concept. And my friend wrote a book about this that basically said a calorie is a calorie. So we've been taught calorie is a calorie. Calorie in, burn the calorie, calorie goes out, because that's physics. So I'm good with that. I did really well in physics class, but unfortunately in the human body, that's not the case. So what I liked about what I learned from Dr. Frisch is that it is what is in the calorie. So I found this by Brian Sanders. It said 90 calories sells a lot better than 30 ingredients. Convincing the world to count calories instead of ingredients is one of the most profitable schemes in history. And it's also one of the great lies. It's one of the great lies. There are a lot of great lies being told right now. We're not even going to get into all of those. But we are going to recognize the fact that a calorie is a crock. It's absolutely not the case. So on so many programs, you are told, put all your information in and we'll tell you what you need to do to hit your goal weight. And it's all about the weight. What I love about Shape is that it's not, but Dr. Todd's going to tell you about that in just a minute. What I loved about Shape is that it did not say, go to the grocery store and get whatever you want to eat to fill in your 1,100 calories in a day. Because I would have filled my cart with those little bags of those 100-calorie tiny chocolate chip cookies, and there are a bunch of them in there, so you feel like you've eaten. They want you to think you've eaten 2 dozen chocolate chip cookies, right? I had 2 dozen chocolate chip cookies on this diet. Well, there's diet fail right there, because if you look at the ingredients, it's insane. So a calorie is not a calorie, and it is not just about the weight. So let's go to the next slide, and I'm going to let you talk a little bit.
Actually, Abby, go back 2 slides if you would. So my wife came to me, gained some weight with menopause, lost her mind, and she exercised. So for 3 months, she exercised 6 out of 7 days. She never ate more than 1,200 calories. Sugar never crossed her lips. Getting menopausal weight's very difficult to get off. At the end, never weighed herself the whole time. Stepped on the scale. After 3 months, she lost 1 pound. And that was mostly her mind. So it was an interesting thing. If she was a German Shepherd, I think I had to just put her down. It was one of those kind of things. So she kind of grabbed me and said, you help everybody, but you're not helping me. And I go, oh. So I hate diets. I hate. I remember watching Hook. I hate Peter Pan. And so I didn't like my kids to use the word hate. And I remember watching that movie go, oh, don't say that. Anyway, I hate diets because they all fail. Because I tried so many in my career. 40 years of practice, you've seen it all. From the Stillman's water diet to Atkins and all that kind of stuff. Secondly, it couldn't be just metabolic. And I thought, well, it must be hormone. And certainly there's a hormonal component of this thing. But then I had to ask myself, why do all diets fail? And Carolyn Leaf was instrumental in Shape. She doesn't know it. I should probably share that with her. I read a lot of her books. I heard her speak at a church in St. Louis. And they fail because the brain gets a message that it's starving. It's part of the limbic system of the brain, the hypothalamus and pituitary. And I thought, this is a brain problem. And that's where Shape came from. And I'll let Judy take, or am I supposed to take the next and go where we were? So patient, I've said patients for so long. I know coaches can't say patients, but if I mess up, clients. So people are going to come in for weight loss. I get that. But I did a bait and switch. When someone came to my office and said, I want to do your weight loss program, I said, I don't have one. Well, my friend lost 60 pounds. And I go, oh, no, your friend did a wellness program. Part of that ended up being something called Shape Reclaim. Well, whatever. They don't care. But what you want to do is you want to change their relationship with food. And you want to change what's happening in their body. Because they're going to come in with pain, mood issues, brain fog. You know what the number one complaint in menopausal women is? It's not vaginal dryness. It's not lack of libido. It's brain fog. Every test that's ever been done, it's always brain fog. Hormonal imbalances, metabolic issues, blood sugar, chronic conditions, chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, all these kind of things. So I built Shape for weight loss, and then the miracles occurred. All of these things started to improve, and I went, what's going on here? This is amazing. I want to share some to the practitioners. Boy, this is coming from a way long time ago. You want to be a vessel. There's a story about at the turn of the century, there was a World's Fair. This is when World's Fair were big. Big buildings were built. And the Chinese put up a big building, and in front of the building, this guy from a distance saw this man pumping water, and gushes of water were coming out as this man dressed in Chinese attire. He kept pumping and pumping and pumping. This water just flowed and flowed out. And the guy thought, this guy's amazing. We all hear about the Chinese. They can land all the things they can do. And he kept walking around, and he kept looking back, and the guy kept pumping the water. And he says, this guy, as a doctor, this guy's going to go into calcium tat and his muscles are going to explode. When he finally, after hours, walked up, it turns out it was the water coming through that made the man look like he was pumping. So you can be the man pumping, or you can be that person that takes that energy from an amazing source and let it flow through you. I don't want to be the pumper. I want to be in tune to that energy. Shape was built with that premise, that this is something totally different, and I'm simply a vessel. My successes clinically were so greater than my abilities, it would blow your head off. Some of the things that got better, I would just sit back and go, how did that? I had to act like a doctor, like I knew what was happening, but I would go, oh my goodness, I didn't want to take this patient. Now they've gotten well. So it's an amazing thing. Shape was built with that kind of energy. So that's why we have such passion for it. And that's why it works so much better than diets.
Okay. We're going to go ahead and talk about what all these symptoms have in common. We know as holistic practitioners or any other level of practitioner that patients come in and they have things they are concerned about. And what we have found is that you can draw that inflammation ribbon through virtually every single one of those. So now we're going to talk about what I call my tipping point. And I have shared this with both Todd and Abby for the last couple of days and anybody else that would listen. And that is, I knew I needed to lose weight. I am 66. I was carrying a lot of extra weight. I'm still carrying some more needs to go. I am aware of this. And I knew what to do. But what I did not have was somebody, and I'm not going to say that shape practitioners are lion tamers, but I needed somebody standing over me with a whip and a chair. I needed accountability. And I also needed to acknowledge that inflammation was the biggest issue. I was not ready to step into any kind of change until I hit my tipping point. And my tipping point was not about my weight and not about the scale. The tipping point for this person, this 66-year-old overweight woman who never had pain, I did not have pain. I did not have systemic pain. I had a bad dog bite on my left hand. I had a sprained ankle on my left ankle. There's something about that left side, And I had those things, but they were inflicted in another fashion. They were not part of me. I could still go choreograph an entire musical, even carrying the weight I was carrying, and not have pain. I could still outdance most of the dancers, and that was okay. I was like, okay, I'm good. I've got this. I'm not complaining about the pain like my classmates are. My classmates are posting all over social media, oh, this getting old stuff ain't no place for sissies. And I'm like, okay, Betty Davis, that is something we all know, but I don't get the pain thing. I don't understand that until it started. Right thumb this time. Right thumb hurts. Right knee starts hurting. Left shoulder hurts periodically. Nowhere. I haven't done anything to cause this. That was when I made a phone call to a friend of mine in Florida. And I said, I think I need to talk to Stacy Kimmel. It was in Sarasota. I said, I need to talk to Stacy about SHAPE program. And she said, absolutely. So she set up an appointment for me. Stacy had been in practice for 10 years. Next thing I know, I'm on my way. So I looked through this. I had a couple of things I called deal breakers. And one of my deal breakers is that I do like coffee. So the minute and I don't like a lot of it. I just like a good espresso in the morning. And it was like, oh, no, that's fine. You can have your espresso. Oh, okay, thank you, I'm in. So my deal breakers were addressed, and I started on the program. And that was basically, I did nothing but the eating, and it's a ton of food, lots of food available. So I did nothing but that, and my shape drops, and I hydrated, and the urinalysis, which Todd will talk about in a little bit, that goes with it, is phenomenal. But I got started on it. 8 days later, I'm down 10 pounds. 10 pounds. Now, I'm going to invoke the name of another program that I had tried for 3 months that rhymes with Zoom. And I was on that program.
You're not going to use the N word.
I'm not going to use the N word. Because I don't want to bash a program. That was something I don't want to do. It did not work for me. The Noom program that I got involved with did not work for me. I don't know if I was doing it wrong, but in 3 months I had lost 2.5 pounds, not quite 3. So 10 pounds in the first week. I know that there was stuff that needed to go. So I'm skeptical. I'm thinking, I'm going to stall out. Second week, end of the second week, and it was also almost 9 days at that point. So let's say 2.5 weeks, down 18 pounds. And the pains began to mitigate. Less issue. I was sleeping better. Everything else was going on. So perhaps you can explain a little bit about what was happening to me.
So let's go back to the brain. The question is why diets fail. It's because the brain got a message that it's starving. So I studied Atkins diet extensively because I saw people do very well on the Atkins diet till when? Till they ate a piece of bread. I saw a book once. It was a bread book, recipes for bread. The title was Atkins is Dead, Pass the Bread. That was catchy title. So what I would see happen is these people would do Atkins and they would crush it. They would lose an immense amount of weight. Start at 240, end up 200 a few months later, and then they would eat a piece of bread. And all of a sudden, there's something called a set point, what your brain thinks you should weigh. And what would happen is they would immediately go back to the 240, and then the brain said, you starve me, I'm going to protect you. I'm going to raise your set point to 260. And I found that interesting. So then I studied ketones and ketosis because Atkins wanted you to get keto strips and he wanted you in large ketosis. And I dug deeply into that. It's a fascinating story. I don't have time to tell it. But that large ketosis to the brain is starvation. For a while, the brain is really happy, but it won't stay that way. And then I realized I can use a urine analysis to spot starvation. And then I went through all the 10 things that we measure in a diet screen, 10, 5 of which tell us you're in starvation. So if you start a person on shape, if you start 10 people on shape, in 3 weeks, you're going to have 10 different programs. Now, we doctors don't like that. We like a one-size-fits-all approach, which is really asinine if you think about it, because how many people are the same in this room? You guys have long beards. Obviously, you're the same. So it was all about bio-individuality. And I really felt we needed to build a program to the unique metabolic needs of each patient. So what we use is this urine specimen. If this shows up, you do this. If this shows up, you do this. If this shows up, you ask these 2 questions, and depending on the way they answer it, you go this way. So the simplicity of this is just ghastly easy, but we never let the brain get the message that it's starving. Starvating, is that a word? I at the end of my career, I suffered from exhaustion. I was too tired to give a crap. Sorry, well, whatever. Anyway, what happened was we were able to then increase what they were eating to allow them to continue to shed this toxic weight. At the same time, they would be healing their body and lowering their set point. Now, the word inflammation is the buzzword. We all agree today in medicine, it is the buzzword. Now, just take this logically. You're a fireman and a house is on fire. What are you going to do? You're going to put water on it, right? So inflation in your body, inflation in your body. Wow, let's get political here. It's Sunday. It's Sunday. So yeah, I talked a lot. So the fireman in your brain has all this fire in the body. What do you think it's going to do? It says, let's put it out by retaining fluid. So I always get such a chuckle when people lose a lot of weight like she did very quickly. Oh, that's just water weight. Well, so it's not like you cut off your leg. Well, that's just leg weight. Let's cut off I lost 16 pounds by cutting off my left leg. That makes perfect sense. So this bio-individuality was the motivation behind how Shape was built. And let's build a program to each individual because everybody's unique.
Alrighty, tag team. So one of the things that we want people to consider, not only from the client standpoint, because I'm the client, in 4 months I became a practitioner. Now I am in learning stages, as you know. I mentioned 6 months on it, so you do the math. I'm only 2 months in as a practitioner. So anybody working with me knows that they're learning with my bumps and bruises, and that's okay. However, I've been in business for 23 years. Prior to that, I managed very large organizations within General Motors subsidiary. I had big groups of employees and I had big budgets to work with. So I knew a lot about business. And when I began my health food store in my hometown, I started looking at different things that I could put in place because, as we know in business, cash flow is everything. And the only way you generate enough cash flow to keep yourself running is if you are successful at what you do. If people are happy with your business, your cash flow keeps going and your business keeps running. So 23 years later, I'm in business still. Additionally, I was able to apply some credentials for teaching. And the thing I love about this, I was in, as I mentioned, GM, I was in information technology. So the turnkey concept was a great buzzword for me. When you're in information technology, you know what turnkey is. Turnkey, you want to get a hold of something that is a proven practice that is flexible enough that it will work for a lot of different people who come to you for help. Come to you for help. That is a big one. They're not coming in just to buy the vitamins off the shelf. If they are coming into a good health food store, they're going to ask the people in there, I think I need a multivitamin. What would you suggest? So here we are with the word inflammation, and people coming in either to the store or making an appointment with me, or in the case of some of the people here in this room, making appointments with you. And having something that is pre-researched, thoroughly documented, and readily available to the practitioner and the patient client, and flexible enough that, as Todd said, 10 people, after a short period of time, you have 10 different programs. There are so few of those opportunities out there. So go ahead and advance that if you would. Everything in the Shape Reclaim program is provided for you to market your business. You have digital images. There are 2 websites, one for practitioner, one for a patient client. Recipes galore. That's the biggest question I get. What do I eat? What do I eat? What can't I eat? And one of the things that I love that Stacy and Todd both told me, and Abby also confirmed, there's nothing you cannot eat. There are just things that you might eat that might either stall you out a little bit or not have the impact you want them to have. So they maybe don't fit where you need to be at the moment or where you're planning to go, and that's good. People are searching for wellness providers every day. The actual the atmosphere that we're in right now, the economy that we're in right now, the mode that we're in right now is people are looking for wellness. They're looking for ways to get well. They're looking for ways to stay well. And they're looking for ways to reverse things that maybe have happened to them. Can we do all of that? We can certainly address a lot of situations. So there is a Find a Practitioner directory on the website, if you want to advance me a bit. And you can save your time and focus on what you do best, which is take care of people, answer questions. The work is done for you. The guidebooks are fabulous. If anybody stops by or chooses to stop by the booth later, or you've already been there, you will see everything that is available there. Curious, there are a couple of shape practitioners in this group right now. Could I get you guys to raise your hands? How many? Okay, good. Very good. I thought that I recognized a couple faces. And fairly recent too, right? Yes. So there are clear instructions for you, your patient, client, online research, and as in my case, the program was done remotely for me. Your analysis was taken, photo was taken of the strip, sent to my practitioner, and an appointment scheduled. And that is huge in this climate. Educational support is available and growing all the time. The educational support is phenomenal. Yeah, we're working on it. We've got a lot of good stuff. There is a great practitioner training program in place right now. We know that we're working on it. We also know that we have more holistic folks, more naturopaths coming on board, and our approach is going to be a bit different, as Todd acknowledged, between patient client. So, we have health coaches, we have naturopaths, we have holistic practitioners, naturopathic doctors coming on board, and those approaches are going to be slightly different. And we are able to address all of those. We have, of course, the turnkey marketing. They are madly building marketing support, and it's readily accessible to a lot of people. It is easy to implement framework, and I am going to hand this back because all of this information is crucial. I do have a question. How long has SHAPE been around?
11, it's going to be 12 years this next April. So it's a baby. About to be a teenager, so look out, they are. So is it for everyone? Technically, yes, but there are some I wouldn't. Obviously, you're going to see the things on the left so commonly in your practice. People come in with so many different things. The biggest booming entity is autoimmune. And this is a scary thing because your body's literally attacking itself. And you got to ask why. Why is there so much autoimmune? I have lots of thoughts on that. I could spend 2 hours. They give me 2 hours. I will spend 2 hours. But all these things can be benefit greatly from SHAPE because SHAPE is anti-inflammatory. It's a mild detox. It's immunoenhancing with the side effect of weight loss. What a wonderful side effect. Now, where you don't want to use it is pregnant and nursing. There are situations that I would use it with nursing if the mother is diabetic, but again, you have to be careful. Chemotherapy, you don't want to go there. Dialysis, schizophrenia. The main thing with schizophrenia is they're on so many medications that the mild detox is just not mild in a schizophrenic patient. And what happens, you'll see very few thin schizophrenic patients. They're usually morbidly obese because the body will build fat cells to store the toxins from all the drugs they take. Do you want to release those toxins into the body all at one time? Probably not. Not with a schizophrenic patient. And of course, eating disorders, that's an interesting thing in itself. Close monitoring, people with diabetes, big thing there is you have to start them off with more protein because they need more protein. Obese young children, the thing here is the emotional impact, how they've been picked on. The best thing I can say for these folks is try to, hopefully, someone in the family will also have a weight problem so they have a teammate. It's important to have a teammate. The extremely morbidly obese are very difficult. They have a toxic relationship with food. And again, our goal is to change the person's relationship with food. That is such an integral part. And where does that happen? Happens in the limbic system of the brain, which I find an interesting. Back to Carolyn Leaf, Dr. Leaf. Lots of medications. Again, you got to be careful. What happens when you get better and you're taking hypertensive medication and medication to control your cholesterol and medications to control your diabetes, and you go on which are all lifestyle problems, by the way, you go on a program that improves your lifestyle, blood pressure medication is going to work if your blood pressure is 200 over 100, but it's also going to work if your blood pressure is 100 over 80. And those people hit the table on the way down when they pass out because the body naturally no longer needs that medication. Same thing with diabetes. My first until Shape came in, which 20 plus years in practice, I never took anyone off insulin, injectable insulin. Never happened. It was a common occurrence with Shape. I had people on insulin pumps that had to have them removed from their body. And it's like, wow, this is amazing. How can that? My success with type 2 diabetes is 100% if they do the program. Now, the people that didn't do the program, that failed, but the program never failed. It's an easy thing to fix, this type 2 diabetes. It's because it's a lifestyle issue, and we changed them dramatically. Elderly patients, there's always lots going on there. You just have to pay a little more attention because
Qualifies elderly.
it ain't 70, I'll tell you that.
I might have been to somebody.
So I had a patient, her name was Millie, and Millie and Max didn't get along. They were married for like 70 years. We had to put them in different rooms because they fought so much. And I had done Shape. I was 240 pounds or something like that. And I did Shape, and Millie comes in, and Millie has no filter. And she goes, Dr. Todd, lost a lot of weight. And I go, well, yeah, you got cancer or something? I go, no. And well, I'm fat. I want to lose some weight. And I said, well, Millie, there's not much tread on your tires anymore, kind of thing. I didn't say it quite that way, but I said, well, Millie, it's probably not for you. She said, you think it'll kill me? Because I don't care. And so she had lymphedema. She had oozing in her legs, just liquid coming out of her legs. And I said, well, what the heck? She's the first elderly patient, and she was in her 80s, and I put her on it. I saw her 2 weeks later. The oozing was gone in her legs. She lost 22 pounds in 2 weeks, 11 pounds the first week, 11 pounds the second week. She said, am I going to lose 11 pounds next week because I want to? And I go, no, probably not, Millie. And it was just remarkable. And again, it's if you're nothing more than the vessel, what happens through you is some pretty cool stuff. And just don't take credit. Let the credit go where it belongs.
You have a question.
Question. What about the drops? What about the drops? Okay, got to hold this.
Yes.
Okay, no, to me.
Okay.
So I want everybody to fold their hands like they're going to pray. Okay? So I'm a right thumb over left thumb. Whatever you are, reverse it. No, take them all the way apart and reverse it. Then you can hardly do it. It's like a magnet thing. This is right. This isn't right. Everything in Shape had to have this. I intellectually knew I needed to support the thyroid. And everything I thought about and studied, I got that. When I thought, no, I wanted to support I couldn't do it because nothing felt like that. Everything had to feel like that. So the drops themselves, I tried to cover all the bases. When you shed weight, there's going to be a toxic load to your body. So I supported the liver with lycopodium. I support the gallbladder with Sheldonian magus. I knew there was emotional things that I had. My original remedy had it still does have Cali-Phos in it, but I realized that I needed some Bach remedies because there was some old stuff that came out. Because we store toxic emotions in fat cells. And when those cells break down, that comes back into your thinking cap. And it's kind of interesting. Hence, I put Star of Bethlehem in for that. So all these things I put in, we ran into a situation where the detox was a little more and it was really stressing the kidneys. So we were having too many skin reactions. And when I did my research with Stacy was one, we realized it was really the kidney getting burdened. So I put goldenrod in and berberine and solidago, goldenrod. Sorry, that is goldenrod. So we eliminate the skin reaction that was going on. We haven't made a change in a long time in Shape. We feel pretty good about where it's at. But if I ever get that check in my spirit that it has to change, it will change. And it usually comes now from practitioners. So we listen. I like relationships. I think it's very important in business to have relationships. And we want a relational component to our company. So today, people talk on computers. I don't do that, but we do a lot of that. And I understand that. People say, I get a text, can I talk to you? And I'm going, why don't you just call me? So it's an interesting kind of thing. But the drops were put together to support all the things that could go wrong as you're going through a healing situation. So anything that is in there, I put graphites in, which is lead. Lead's dangerous. No, it's homeopathic. It's not. So that's in there to suppress appetite because appetites can get out of control. But the key is is we put some glandulars in it, hypothalamus, pituitary. Remember, this is a brain problem. The hypothalamus talks to the pituitary. They talk things over and they send messages, like to your thyroid stimulating hormone, to your ovaries, your follicle stimulating hormone, your luteinizing hormone, to the adrenals, ACTH. So if we got better communication between the hypothalamus and pituitary, the end result is going to be very positive. So I want to share a story. We had a symposium every year till COVID hit. The theme of our symposium, it was a 10-year anniversary, the theme was, you can't measure what you prevent. Is that great? What have you done with one person that changed their life and caused their whole life to change, which means the domino effect is all the people they affect? Do you realize the power of that? What have you done that changed the world? You did it. You already did it. You already changed the world. Everybody here that touches anybody, you have the potential to change the world. I think that's pretty cool. So sometimes you have to let things happen and then go, how the heck did that happen? So 3 or 4 symposiums ago, I put a picture of a pregnant lady's belly with a stethoscope on it. The next slide that came up was 15. So I said, I've had 15 successes using Shape with fertility. Now, I treated fertility. I do acupuncture, a lot of herbs. I had a lot of success with fertility, but none of these patients came to me for fertility. And yet 15, I ended my career with 17. And I said, by a show of hands, if you accidentally had success with fertility, would you read? And I said, stand up. Now, we had 300, was it 300 about that time? 300 people in the room, 74 practitioners stood up. I lost it. Talk about changing the world. Which one of those are going to grow up, become president of the United States, and stop a nuclear holocaust? Because of something you gave them called Shape Reclaimed? Oh, my mother used to say you're talking poppycock. She would say gibberish was the other thing she would say. Well, how do you know you didn't already do it? Not necessarily with just Shape, but with anything. 74 doctors stood up. I lost it, crying like a baby. I had to just quickly get done. And doctor after doctor, practitioner after practitioner came up, said if I could have stood 6 times, I'd have done it. You help somebody have a baby, that's a good day. That's a good week. That's a good month. That's a good career. 74 plus the numbers there, plus my 17, 100 people are walking on this earth because of something God let come through me. I'm pretty passionate about this. Can you tell? So that's what's in the drops. So pixie dust.
You have a couple more.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. I'm going to go ahead and handle this one. Can it be used for men? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. A new joiner this morning, a new practitioner that we gained out of Georgia, who is the husband of one of my coworkers, Rob Hovis, who is the husband of Beth Hovis, who is the greatest iridologist as far as I'm concerned, but that's side note there. She and her husband started Shape a while ago. Well, Rob had a goal and he wasn't sure because he's a grill master. Rob is the grill master. And I was like, oh, I don't know. We're going to have the potatoes so he's just started throwing everything on the grill. So he has his grilled proteins and his grilled vegetables. Well, Rob signed up this morning. Rob's lost 50 pounds. Rob's lost 50 pounds and he did it in less time than I did. And I hate him for it. But it's okay because he's a nice, big, tall guy and his, just the way his body wanted to go. His body let it go that way. So yes, Rob has lost 50 pounds and has done very well. And he's decided to share that. And I have one more I want to go ahead and address because we were talking about education earlier. So the question is how to join this program. And currently, we have health coaches, holistic practitioners. We're looking for some formal education in the form of a certification, at least, that meets criteria. Abby is happy to tell you what those might be. And we also know for a fact that we have a qualifying program on the way that will offer a certification. And it's within the confines of Shape. So you will actually be, once you get through that program, prepared and qualified to join. Now, if you want to join as a client, it is as simple as going to the Shape website and finding a practitioner So you can work with another practitioner for a while before you decide to join that program. I'm going to hand this back, and then I have another question.
Does training involve nutritional training? Yes, very much so. So the training you're going to see on there is pretty technical. What happens with the shape programs, people tend to do very, very well, but sometimes they'll hit a wall and they just can't move forward. So we have found 11 different areas that need to be addressed, and we teach you all about that. And this goes from insulin resistance to being acidic, to adrenal insufficiency, to estrogen dominance, to leptin resistance. And if you're leptin resistant, what do you do? What does leptin resistance look like? And this isn't about measuring leptin on a blood test, which is pathetically ineffective. It's about signs that are there, and we can make a difference based on what's going on. Abby and I wrote a book on facial diagnosis, and we wrote this for the shape practitioners so they could get a better understanding of what's going on in the body. So we have this training. It is technical, but we do give you some things that would be beneficial. How do you feel about pressure cooked white beans on the shape program? We won't do white beans. There's glycemic index and glycemic load, and these are just too high. We don't get the effect we want metabolically with these real complex carbs, and it's one that we don't allow on the first phase of it. The last question is, how long is the program? It's 3 phases. Phase 1 is the aggressive phase where, let's use weight loss, I hate that term. We want to shed weight. Losing things you lose, you find again. So we want to shed something that you don't ever want to find again. So that can be as long as you want, and that's where the practitioner monitor. Then the second phase is where we lock down the set point. It's 3 weeks long. It's very rigid. You can't screw up on that phase. The third phase is the rest of your life. Is there a transition program when the program is finished? Yes, it's the rest of your life. And hopefully we have taught you enough to change your relationship with food and give you some clues. When I do this happens. A lot of people have sensitivities to foods that aren't bad. But for me, when it comes to eggplant, I might as well eat it on the toilet because it's going to go through me that fast. I just don't do eggplant. Learned that the hard way, I might add. It was pretty aggressive. So I'm a little nightshade sensitive. So what happens when you clean up when you're eating everything and you feel like crap, you don't see a cause and effect. Once you do the cleanse part of it, which is the first phase, then all of a sudden, when you start adding foods back, you go, whoa, I gained 3 pounds eating a half a banana. Perhaps something's not right there. So hopefully your brain will make the connections between that is not a bad food. It's not good food for me, however.
Okay. I have one more question to answer, and then we're going to wrap up. But the question is about doing the wellness business. There are so many different ways to do it. You can do it live. You can do it within a store. You can do it remotely. You can do it in a home office. You do it in context because you literally just pick it up with all the knowledge that you have and you plop it down, and it is effective for nearly everyone. And you saw the list. Just do it. So no restriction on this regarding how you do it, even online, remotely. There's so many different ways. I don't Zoom with my practitioner. I get on the phone and talk with him, but I have a small group of people who signed up with me as clients, and we will probably do a little group Zoom. So that'll be fine too. We can do that. I wanted to thank you guys for being here today. This is Dr. Todd Frisch, founder of Shape Reclaimed, and the CEO of the corporation, Abby Frisch Belliston. And my name is Judy Masters. We are in booth 305. If there's anything else we can do to help you today, please come see us. Thank you.